A Crescent man spent more than 2 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. And now, under a new Minnesota law, he's eligible to get paid for the time he spent behind bars. Mike sat down with him recently to talk about his life-changing experience.
Yes, Roger Olsen is now a free man in the physical sense, but most of the time he says he feels like he's still incarcerated because of the horrible ordeal he's been through.
I just go day by day.
50-year-old Roger Olsen of Crescent is taking life one step at a time these days. Thoughts of the past constantly following him wherever he goes.
I don't have any friends anymore. Most of my family I don't see. Afraid to go out in public sometimes.
Most of Roger's days are spent holed up in his home, unable to escape the reality of the nightmare he's been living.
Can't get a job. Don't have nothing to do anymore. Everything my whole life fell all apart. Sometimes I wonder what's keeping me around even.
More than 7 years after being freed from prison for a crime he didn't commit, his life remains a mess. His physical and mental health fragile.
Every day, sometimes I think of taking my life. The only thing that keeps stopping is my kids.
He can't sleep. He's afraid of talking to people. He sees ministers, therapists, psychiatrists. It's pretty extreme. I haven't seen anything in 35 years as a lawyer this extreme.
Roger's life was turned upside down in March of 2006. He was arrested and thrown in jail after his former stepdaughter accused him of sexually assaulting her when he was still married to her mother several years prior.
I was treated guilty from the day one. No one would listen to me.
Roger was charged with 12 counts of criminal sexual conduct in Houston County. Despite pressure from his attorney to take a plea deal, he refused.
The prosecutor told me if I sign a plea agreement, I can be out of jail and will not have to do any more time. I could be out in 3 months. Or if I fight it and go through trial, I'm basically going to look at life in prison.
Faced with the possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars, Roger took his case to trial. On August 31st, 2006, a jury returned 12 guilty verdicts. 3 months later, a Houston County judge sentenced Roger to 24 years in prison.
I don't think anybody believed anything I said. They treated me like I'd done something to a kid.
To this day, Roger doesn't like to talk about everything he went through in prison, including being labeled a child rapist.
I don't know how many death threats I got in there from so many people in there. I feel that the guards knew what I was there for. They put people in my room to do things to me.
But after spending 2.5 years in prison, Roger was set free in 2008. Investigators in Houston County discovered new evidence that led them to believe his former stepdaughter had made up the entire story.
It's this girl. She's the fabricator. She's the liar. She went into a courtroom and lied under oath.
But Roger's freedom has come at an incredible cost.
They don't care if I'm innocent or not. I'm labeled as a sex offender. And that will stick the rest of my life. And how do you get away from that? I had a happy life before this crap happened. Owned my own business, worked at another factory, owned my own house, had trucks, cars, had my kids. Took them any place they wanted to go.
Right now he's got a little bit of justice. He's free, but he's being tormented every day, 24 hours a day.
And now, under a newly passed Minnesota law, Roger is eligible to be compensated for the time he spent in prison. The state has set a minimum of $50,000 with no cap on the amount for emotional distress and injuries.
It ain't gonna change what happened. It could help me live a little better than what I can. It'll get me a few things, and that's about it.
My biggest fear is him and what that money isn't going to fix the problem. This is a severe problem.
You get more time.
As Roger navigates his new path in life as a free man, still imprisoned by his experiences of the past, he tries to look toward the future the best he can.
No matter what you gotta do, keep fighting. Never give up. If I can do it, anybody can.
And last Friday, Roger and his attorneys appeared before a panel of 3 judges, which came up with a dollar amount to compensate him with. It was determined he will get $475,000 from the state for his wrongful conviction. That amount now goes to the legislature for final approval. And a side note here that here in Wisconsin, lawmakers are looking at raising the minimum compensation for those wrongly convicted. The legislation increases the payments tenfold from about $5,000 to $50,000 annually, and for each year that the person was incarcerated.
Now, we heard what's happening with him right now, but what about the girl who falsely accused him? What about her?
Well, that's a good question. They can't seem to find her. His attorneys say that they believe she's left the country, and they say actually the chances of her being charged are really slim. They don't even think she could be charged or would be charged if she was found.
All right, thank you very much, Mike, for that story tonight.